Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Left Wave Transmission podcast. We were away last week, apologies for that. This week, it's myself and the lovely Soul Bunny. My name is Louise. I run a YouTube channel called Matriarchetype. And Soul Bunny, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, I'm Soul Bunny and I create video essays, and soon we'll be coming out with a new video essay after being gone for a year and a half. So, yeah, that's me.
Exciting. I'm glad to hear that it's on the way. I've been looking forward to it personally myself for a while. How do you have like a date? Do you think it's going to come out, or is it like the next month maybe?
No, it has to come out this week. It can't be pushed off any further than this week, so it has to be this week.
Amazing. Oh my god, how exciting. You've been working on that for so long. Yeah, so Finn of Swolsome is currently moving, so he's going to be, I think, out until September, sadly. And then Bridget, sadly as well, just caught a bug recently, so she's also out. But we can hold down the fort, can't we? We got this.
Yeah, definitely.
But it might be might be like a quick, snappy episode. We've got two topics in mind. Which one do you want to start with? Do you want to start with the annoying one or the sad one?
I feel like we do have to go with the sad one first.
Okay.
Also because it's such breaking news. It's such a recent thing that
Good point.
I think it does deserve that. I also think he deserves that kind of respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not I don't want to. So yeah, let's go there. I will let you to start because it is from your country's media. You're probably the
Sure.
strongest aware of
so.
how the UK media is. I've just been learning the past year, or since at least since what's her name, since Meghan Markle. That was my first introduction to how vicious the British media is.
Yeah.
But because I only had that example previously, I don't know the other things that you, as someone that is British, would know or see and is aware of. I'm only aware of the very high-profile cases like Meghan Markle and now this one.
Meghan Markle is a great one. It's a great example of just the institutional racism and what is quite insidious about the UK media has become quite overt, I would say. I don't know, maybe it's always been overt and I've just been unaware, but yeah, you're completely right. I'm just going to double check audio is okay though, because I don't want to start this important segment and then halfway through everyone be like, we can't hear you. Audio okay, question mark. But yes, so you're totally right. We're going to be talking about the Jason Arday tragic situation. I haven't been keeping up with it since the beginning, but I've been catching it, in the past couple of days. I know Bridget's really been following it as well, but over, nearly 200, basically, Jason Arday was a professor for Cambridge. In the media, the right wing started to scrutinise some of his credentials, some of his previous papers, and his legitimacy, because he started to gain influence, as I've heard it, from joining things like Question Time, which is like a political debate show, and it has evolved into like 182 articles about him. I just saw, or nearly 200 articles about an individual person, which is already just crazy. Okay, audio is good. That's good to know. And just a professor suddenly has the entire media scrutinising him. We will talk about the left-wing media as well, Novara media and stuff. That's going to be an important point to cover. But to just give the background to anyone that doesn't know, Jason Arday, neurodivergent as well. Some of his previous teachings of like an hour-long, what are they called? Courses and stuff. Seminars, yes, were found online, and people were pulling them apart. It's like, do that to anyone that has had a career, has different things that could be pulled apart down the line. But he sadly passed away or killed himself recently. He was found in his apartment, and people are calling it a modern day lynching because it is a person of colour who has been targeted by a mob, predominantly of white British media, and have relentlessly hounded him until he had no alternative for crimes that are unfounded. He was alleged to have plagiarized as well, which was unfounded. He and so these crimes that were not justified to have been brought up as an issue were unfounded. He had no alternative. I just saw an interview. It said that he was with his friend for dinner in the last few days of his life, and he just was lost. He'd lost weight. He didn't know what to do, and with no alternative, that was the choice he took. And the blood is on the hands of any UK media that covered his story with just following the hate train, just following the drama train, really. And it's the modern day dramification of media that is frightening, because they're just talking about the same article. None of them are checking it, just absolutely circling it, if you know what I mean. And that even includes left-wing media that should be doing so much better. And we'll talk about Novara media, and, any respect we had left of them is already lost. Say what you can. But before I carry on, that's a general summary. So Bunny, please, by all means, what you've heard,
I would like to pick
your thoughts.
Yeah. Picking up where you left off, I want to say right now, they're using the word plagiarism incorrectly. A lot of the people are running with it. He didn't copy anyone. He made a couple mistakes. You wouldn't call mistakes plagiarism. Plagiarism means copying someone's actual. So there's that problem. There's that misinformation and straw man that people are using, who a lot of them who aren't part of academia, who don't understand these processes. They just go and they're just plastering plagiarism, and that's what the media was running with. Also, the person that accused them of plagiarism also did not give a direct connection to who they were plagiarizing. Again, they're not using the word correctly. Was an avowed white nationalist and race realist. I'm not sure if you know about that.
I didn't know that.
Not
no.
every-
I didn't know that.
You didn't
I mean,
know?
I assumed they were racist. I didn't know it was overtly. It's just just
okay.
thing.
That was the root. So that was the person who started everything. Was this? He was a race realist scientist who believes in eugenics and was wanting for the rapper. He said there was a clip. Everyone's sharing the clip. Let me see if I can.
If you can find
I don't
it,
have you
yeah.
on.
Let's have it.
Let me see if I could. I'm gonna send it into the chat. I'm gonna play it. I'll send it to the Discord chat and play it because I just saved it. With the actual clip of the person that started everything, and it is kind of wild. Here's
crazy.
One. I know. So it's but people didn't check into that. They just saw a person they can go after, and they did not even sit.
They didn't do their due diligence. Exactly, and that's the insidious nature of this.
Here we go.
UK media.
Okay, do this one first. Sorry, one first. Again, the first one, and then the second one's a maybe if we meet more info. But the first one is the actual clipped moment where he says,
I might have to just
if you have to screen share it, that's fine because it'll take you to.
Do that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But doing that, yeah. So there was a lot of the media did not do the due diligence to go to double check who's the person who made these accusations, because apparently as I just learned, in the UK it's called EDI, while in America DEI. So same tactics, same language, same goals of why they went after this Black professor compared to all these other professors that resigned, that's done immense stuff. People who've had the same kind of mistakes, who weren't hounded by the media to resign and told that they're plagiarizing and whatnot. There's this two-tier system that I've always noticed within the UK media, but also the language of the lynching, we would call it a digital lynching too, for the audience to make sure it's correct. Digital lynching because of it being a media, because right now in America we are dealing with Black people showing up dead who did not put themselves in that position. So this is a good example of digital lynching, media lynching too. It's other word you would if you could use, because of the way they witch hunt this Black professor. And this is energy, like we said, it's never the same. Are you able to pull it up? Do you find it? Yeah.
Just trying. I'm just trying.
You're trying still.
Keep
Okay,
holding the
I'm trying
floor.
to hold.
So, but digital
Yeah.
lynching is a word I will definitely use in going
Yeah,
forward.
that would be the most accurate description. So, but yeah, going back to this professor who got pushed out of Cambridge because of his race realism ideology, and yeah, he started all this whole culture war shit, and they sent this professor to the slaughter of the land of the culture war of Elias, and so, yeah, and it sucks that I don't know. It's just like I'm just seeing such blatant racism day by day. It's just like I've not like it's all this like to me like it's just this rise of just like blatant not just racism but this like white nationalism. Like we just like this is kind of insane to kind of just like how normal this is being normalized to us, how quickly this can happen.
Completely. No, and it's frightening. And the thing that strikes me is like there's no accountability. There's going to be no repercussions. I've got this clip ready. I think I just put it on screen and then edited it and then realized I was doing it live on the pod. I'm so sorry. But let me see if I can play it and then we'll carry on the convo from there. If that's okay with you?
Yeah.
It's an honour. I can't emphasise enough how grateful I am to the university. You know,
the mismatch between the quality and the prestige was so enormous that there was a hook for a story. After the revolution, I'll be the head of the Department of Eugenics and Race Science at Harvard. DEI, as we know it, and you're just selecting the telltale. So my point, or one of the points I make, is that you don't understand what would happen if we actually had a colorblind meritocracy. Representation of certain groups, such as African Americans, would be decimated. It would fall, well, not just a reduction of 10%, but it would fall to 10% of what it is. That isn't right will be called a racist. So the word, that's all the word means, is that I disagree with the dominant ideology in academia.
Now, if you say and you believe...
Until his retirement. So that was the outcome that would have been ideal. White supremacy...
The audio's a bit quiet, bear with us.
Suggests that
different people, based on their kind of unique set of
experiences. For the clip.
Yeah.
If the root is genetic, which to some extent it is for many of these disparities, then it doesn't matter how much money we pour on, we dump on the problem. There will still be disparities, and when it comes to group disparities between blacks and whites in the United States, and we've invested mind-boggling amounts of money and resources and effort into correcting it.
And by the way, I can't tell if it's
there's just a limit to what can be done.
Can you not? It's playing on the live. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. No, you're fine. I'm just sitting, just waiting till it's done because I can't see it. So
I couldn't share my thing, so I just had to.
No, you're good. You don't need to share. With me. I'm just sitting here waiting.
Sorry, it's just finished. So it was a bit of a variable audio, as someone put in the chat. It's like up and down, but yeah, it covered basically this really odd character's history and some of his opinions. And I think like what really frightens me about that is the suited up scientist approach to looking like a white nationalist, allegedly. Like the white nationalists that we see in like America, like the kind of the ones rioting, wearing masks and stuff with flags, you can pinpoint that and you know what you're looking at. But like this guy, he's just looking like trying to purposefully look like a normal, scientist, and that's that really scary vein of eugenics that we see. But this is exactly it. He's targeted this poor professor, and what, like that in itself should be a crime, and there should be punishment, attached. But what scares me is how the media jumped on board so easily. And I said this in a comment to Novara Media. This is what happens when we let the right set the narrative, come up with their own stories, and we follow them unscrupulously. Is that a word? And just
yeah, that's right. Mhm.
and we don't fight back accordingly, but also we don't come up with our own stories. I feel like the left is constantly playing chase Pac-Man against undoing the right's narratives, trying to unpick their lies and using up all of our time and resources. Come up with our own stories. Follow the story of a fantastic, successful, professor in the UK education system that got there and is doing well, and counteract it with better stories rather than trying to debunk their lies, because that takes too much energy. And I don't know, it's let's talk about Novara Media after, but yeah, any other thoughts before we move on to the Novara side of things?
Yeah, what I would really want to say is this is kind of like going back to like the DEI aspect, is just like these undeserving Black and brown folks. Like that's kind of basically, this was a white nationalist eugenicists, like that believed in race science, that believed that all Black people in high position powers would have lost, would not be in these positions of powers based off our intellect. They believe that we are inherently stupid, inherently unable to comprehend, inherently illiterate, all these things that no sound person, no sane person would say. But he is saying, so he basically believes like, oh, well, I lost my position, I'm more deserving than this Black person. It's just, and so yeah, it's just, to me, it's like the visual reaction. Like this is, it goes back, like it's literally racist people mad. Literally, Exhibit A being the person who started this, who's mad that opportunities of deserving, qualified Black and brown folks are getting. And it's just every chance they're trying to invalidate us, they're trying to find a way to like justify keeping us or treating us like an underclassmen. It's like, how dare we level up? How dare we do what they ask of us, which is be excellent and do the works and do things that they can't take away from us. And it sucks that they did the work and they found out that there was no plagiarism involved. People are over here using the wrong language, including the fucking media. That's the biggest thing. It's like the media aspect of like using that type of language and pushing out that message did not do like we lost journalistic intent within media. They don't do what they used to do. They're not like how they were 30 years ago. I'm not saying they were amazing back then, but at least people had more integrity. But the way since 2016, I've definitely, the way media moves and whatnot, they don't and we always know like there's been misinformation within the news, but now they just don't give a damn, because since I think the normification of Trump pushing out lies makes it okay for them to have a news cycle of bullshit, and then they'll like, oopsie, once it after the fact, and just move on to the next victim, next and the next. And I think this needs to stop.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to put out 5 times as many articles, and then if one of those 5s is wrong, they just then put out an apology, and that's unacceptable when people's lives are quite literally on the line now. And you're right, it came out of that Trump, administration where it was just flood the zone. It's just, there's too much to cover. And that's so frightening, especially when you think of what AI will add to that down the line. But yeah, it sounds like just a disgruntled professor that couldn't fathom that a person of colour was doing better than him, more successful than him, so had to create a lie to justify it, came up with the plagiarism thing, but then the media jumped on it, and now I can't imagine what it must feel like to have hundreds of articles, or nearly 200 articles, written about you in the space of like a month or some very short period of time. It must be so frightening. I can't. What breaks my heart is that his last few days must have been so filled with turmoil and fear, and that's so that I can't, like, there's no apology that Novara Media can let out that that makes that okay. I'm sorry, like I'm on the non-forgiving train here. So to talk about this, so I think the Times and the Telegraph were two of the most notorious. They released quite a lot of articles about Jordan, down to like, you know, GB News, who you would expect. Even Novara Media covered this, and there were certain personal tweets from the, like, what's the guy that like co-founded Aston or something, Austin, I don't know, but even he was calling the guy a fraud, calling the professor a fraud, calling him, you know, posting his lecture and saying like he's just rambling for 60 minutes. This is from a lecture from like years ago, fully jumping on the hate train, not doing his due diligence as an actual media person or someone that claims to be. And I mean, I saw that the Kavanagh released a video about it. I haven't seen that yet, but it's the last straw in what was already a thin remaining patience for Novara Media, who are meant to be doing better. They started up recently. They're an independent media source. They should be able to take the time and quantify these things. But again, it's giving lazy to me that they are just jumping on the same topics raised by the right, and that's what's so stupid. They're not doing anything to debunk them. But like, so forgive the really tenuous link here, and I know you'll get it, Cell Bunny, but it does seem, but like, why are we talking about trans people suddenly? But it's the same for me. It's a similar situation to trans women in sport. It's a narrative created by the right out of nothing, because it's hard to debunk. It gets the majority of people to just hear it at face value and think, okay, yeah. And then it takes more effort from the left to break that apart. Whereas a large part of what sometimes we have to do is ignore their ridiculous narratives and just move on. Just talk about our own things instead, like create our own stories. Highlight what the right are doing, which is abhorrent. Like, the more time we give to their plucked out of thin air drafted narratives and stories, the more life that breathes into them. And quite frankly, sometimes that is just not worth the energy. Like, so if someone says to me now, do you think trans women should be in sports? I just say, I think trans women should do whatever the fuck they want. And if you don't think that, then you are transphobic. End of discussion. I don't give a fuck what your opinions are outside of that. And I think that it's a tenuous link, and forgive me for making it, and forgive me for kind of talking about something that I understand in regards to this. But I think that so much of the media should have done this. They should have just said, why are we fixating on this one man? Can we leave him alone? Like, this is bullying. This is abhorrent. Like, let's look at everyone else's credentials and see how they got there, and then see how quickly everyone shuts up. That was something that I felt. I mean, I don't know if I'm making too much of a jump there, but what do you think? Do you think there's a similarity?
No, yeah. I mean, like, it is definitely like I mean, because essentially what we're talking about is like they're trying to attack people's identities because they see it as simply identity politics. Identity politics is how we would describe, at least within the leftist standpoint, is like liberals you doing shallow, like for example, like when Nancy Pelosi was kneeling with the kente cloth in 2020. But like, see, that's identity politics. But the problem is like they go anything that's progression or progress for people of color, queer people, etc. People are grouping in with identity politics, but in the same breath, they preach their white identity politics. So it's like, okay, so who's allowed to have an identity and who's not? And that's kind of what I've shown to us is that the second we make any progress, they have to take away the joy from it. They have to find something wrong with it. Hence, him being the youngest Cambridge professor, and they had to find they were looking for anything and everything to try to undermine him and try to get him unseated. I mean, he already resigned, and he just kept going. Like he could not handle it so much, and he just kept going and going. And you've had people that are sick enough to say, well, he couldn't live with the consequences of his actions. They were shallow. And these are coming from some Brits. I'm hearing the accent and all this. And it's like, oh my God. I did not know it was that bad.
Oh, I mean,
Like I knew it was bad, but I
it's
didn't
just
know it was.
it is more insidious in the UK, but it's way more apparent that people realize because of that. I think to spin on its head, like American culture is a little bit more loud in your face generally. Like if you're transphobic, you're
Mhm.
loudly transphobic. If you're MAGA, you're loudly MAGA. But if you're a white nationalist, racist piece of shit in the UK, you can just have those beliefs and carry them about you in your day. And you still talk like a normal British person, which I think is, I think the worrying part. Like, but you're right. A large part of what I forgot to add is yes, is that this professor was made as a monolith for the entire, black community, whereas not only was that unfounded, but that was not that isn't the same standard upheld to any like white professors or anything like that. Like there's no mob of articles about all of the credentials of any other professors or faculty. Like so, yeah, I think you're completely right. They're I think it's the perceived inequality from a racist's perspective that initially thinks that they should be at the top. A white nationalist thinks they should be at the top. They're perceived inequality when they're not. Like they think that the equality of other people meeting their level is them having less, and that like we have to somehow just debunk that or ignore it or move past it because yeah, like it's brought this on, and this is not the last situation. I don't remember the guy's name, which is really annoying, but the boy on the boat with the audio released.
Oh,
Was it
Noah
Mike?
Wells.
Known Wells, that's it, sorry. Not
Yeah.
Mike. Known Wells, again, a situation that would never happen if he wasn't a boy of colour. And it's, yeah, really sad news about Jordan Arday. I hope that his family and friends are okay. Like I just can't imagine what it would be like, and I don't like mainstream media is already falling apart. Like really, they're gonna what respect do they have left? But sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say when is it enough? And then also like the people who like the guy that made the law, the white nationalist, he's carrying on with his life. I think
Yeah.
he's a professor at a different university, and I think people were protesting that, and I think he applied, and I think he had went and I think they confirmed him just recently, and despite protests against it. But I'm gonna double check on that. But I do believe he is a professor. So while he's sitting here with his race realist beliefs, hired and whatnot as a white man, mediocre, can't even back up his science that he believes in.
Yeah.
So he's able to walk around and move about his life, move forward, move past it, despite creating the situation. And if anything, you gave literally someone that wants us to be genocide the best outcome he can think of, which is us gone and dead. And that's what happened. And we've, if anything, made him more happy and excited that he's able to cause that much rift from his voice. And to the point where like now a father's gone. And yeah, so like 'cause he was a dad, he has kids, and now they don't have a dad. Yeah, the professor had kids, so now he's so that's the kind of like sad part about it. It's like they did all this for the perceived idea of undeserving black people taking in slots from deserving white people. So
imagine what
yeah,
they're gonna take forward from that. What they're gonna.
I mean, like the journalists are over harassing them outside of their house. It's just what I've been hearing. So they're not even giving them a chance to grieve. They're out there. So it's just like they're relentless. Like they're acting like it's Hollywood. Like they're TMZ or something. But yeah, they're doing the most. Like they're giving their family the Britney Spears treatment.
Outrageous. And this is just a random man. Like this is not.
Yes, this guy just had a job. He just got a job.
That's crazy.
That's literally all he did was get a job.
We've got Bridget in the chat. Hi, Bridget. I hope you're feeling better, darling. She says, he's not a professor, but the British media assumed he was because he's white. He's a postdoc at the Uni of Ghent, I believe. I wonder if she must mean the white nationalist guy. Bridget, is that the guy that started this all?
Okay, so he's not a professor.
He's
He's
not
like
even a
what? Like on
professor.
a
Outrageous. Just outrageous. What a piece of shit. I hope... Well, I can't say what I hope online, but you all should imagine.
yeah.
Well, rest in power, Jordan Arday. I hope...
We won't let you die in vain.
no,
Like this
totally.
is
Remember your
we're
name.
like this isn't something because like I would definitely say like this is what like kind of like lit a fire under my ass. It's like because like there's been a handful of these types of cases of it going so far where someone's gone. For example, before
Yeah.
this, for me within the anime community, there was a cosplayer who got bombarded with
I
so much
remember.
racist comments. And yeah, and now they're gone. And it's like, and that's something that Black cosplayers are expected to tolerate. Is once their cosplays go so big, we're expected to tolerate all this racism, and that when something happens, it's like, oh, you never see it go. Like, no, you guys created the situation, and you guys you expect us to take that amount of abuse, and they get shocked when not everyone has that strength to take on all that racist abuse. And I mean, that's essentially what's been asked of us. And it goes same for trans people. We're expected to take all this transphobia and whatnot and be strong and stand above it and whatnot as more and more shit keeps coming our way
Like
over and over. And it's just like, it's exhausting, but like we're never our grit is always tried.
well,
Our
and
grit.
and we're praised for it. We're praised to be like, oh, trans women are so confident and so brave, and it's like, no, we fucking have to be.
Like,
the only
oh
ones
yeah, I was
you
gonna
know
say,
that are
yeah, we
brave
have
is
no
because
choice
we're the only
but to
ones
be.
left. Yeah, I got so
Yeah,
much
because
to
if we
say about
don't,
that.
we're gonna fall apart, and we're
Exactly.
gonna fall apart. We're gonna be another statistic, and we're not letting that happen.
Exactly.
So
it's like confirmation bias. It's like this the reason you're only seeing the brave ones is because we're the only ones that's still around, and that's the serious tea.
yeah,
There's
literally.
some segue. If you're happy to move on, there's some segues.
Yeah,
that
we can move
talk.
on. Yeah.
I've got a three topic power round before we hit the AOC woke one, which I want to end on because I want to talk about that.
Good. Exactly.
Three topics. Drew Afalo, I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Tim Paul, and then oh my god, I've forgotten the third one.
I saw the
already.
Tim Paul thing.
And what's the other thing going on? Oh my god, what is it? What else is happening in the news? Drew Buffalo, Tim Paul, and you just made me remember it. What was it?
Well, what's the scandal? What's the description of the scandal?
Let me explain the first two, and then we'll see if it pops into my head. So, Did you see the Drew Afalo? Is it Drew Afalo?
Yes, I saw the whole thing.
Right, I saw it, and I watched the clip. We will cover it. I watched the Cat Black critique. I didn't understand what the original comment was about. So, like, I'm not even sure I understand what they were talking about. Maybe I should have watched the whole thing in context. She has the guest on the show.
And a non-binary person.
Non-binary person, yeah. What was the conversation they had? Sorry, chat, we're moving so fast. I've got to remember my third topic.
I'm gonna be real. I did not watch the full chat. Okay. Honestly, just because I saw the clip, I saw the viral clip, and that's as far as I got to see. And I got to see Drew's explanation. I got to see the person who said in the viral clip what they said. I think the problem is that this situation, I mean, even if like there's certain things that could be handled better on Drew's aspect and whatnot, what I will say is outside of like the one annoying thing is like no trans women was involved in saying anything, yet we are getting the brunt of everything. And it's like showed us how many women who don't, I guess wouldn't necessarily even be technically TERFs, but how many women feel away with trans women feeling confident. Because I wouldn't ever say that I have more femininity or believe and have a better understanding of femininity. Personally, I would not say that. I think the problem is that we got to the situation showed women who thought that like their oppression is what the things that uniquely oppresses them is what makes them a woman solely. And I think that's kind of what the things that got wrong is that like trans women, what they were trying to explain is that trans women understand their femininity with the beautiful aspects of womanness, about femininity and like a womanhood. And that wasn't conveyed properly, and it was read as we're more pussied out than you. Like basically, is how they took it as.
Right. Okay. So, because I heard that clip too, and I kind of kind of thought that was the conversation. I also kind of wondered if it was being put down that like cis women are more oppressed and are more likely to have violence done to them than trans women. And there's me
Yeah,
thinking, excuse your mouth, like that's just not. That's
no,
not the
yeah, there was
case. Like,
definitely a lot of cis women that were saying that. And again, like I'm giving it grace. I don't even think these people even are trying to be TERFs. They're just
no,
ignorant,
just missing
and
a
they
bit.
have an ignorant view
Of
of, because like
course.
a TERF is an actual. You are like a TERF is like a radical feminist,
Yeah,
like an
that's like,
actual radical feminist. That's an actual
yes,
ideology. That
these
is
Jurafa and all
what
that are not that. No, but
yeah, what's in that's J.K. Rowling.
that's J.K.
J.K.
Rowling
Rowling
level. Yeah.
actively
Yes.
wants to try, actively keeps going to, but her whole mission is to exclude trans women. I don't even think these people that are having the butting their heads necessarily even want to exclude trans women, not all of them. But I think the problem is that it's people who want to call themselves ally, but they bring in the but. Oh, you offended me, so let me go throw all my allyship that I
Yes.
espoused and whatnot out the fucking window because you think you're better than me,
It's giving
which is not what
transactional
was being.
allyship. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I think you're a woman,
Mhm.
and therefore I'm better than that. I'm better than most people. And also, like, but if you piss me off, I will know you as the trans woman, not as the cis woman. Like, it's giving a bit of that, and yeah. So okay, that makes sense. So I saw that, and I thought, I feel like when you're on an interview show kind of vibe, I feel like this a lot with a lot of what I watch, where there's like a creator I trust who has an interview based show, and then they have a guest on that says something that doesn't quite align or that they don't know how to angle through. It did kind of look like that. Like Drew Afalo, as far as I've seen her content, I followed her a bit more. She's very much one that like jumps on it and she's like, yes, I agree. Oh my God. And then I feel like in this case, it was just slightly missing some nuance that, of course, if we all sat down, had a conversation, she would, I believe she would get from what I've seen in the past of her. But yeah,
Mhm.
I also know through experiences with trans women, of personal ones, what I know what they're saying. I know what the crux of their argument. I do think that trans women have a different connection with their femininity if they are feminine. Not all trans women are feminine, nor do they have to be. But the trans women that are feminine have a different connection to that because we find it ourselves. We have to kind of fight for it a little bit. In a general case, this we are not a monolith. This is not always the case. Like, you know, the patterns are there. I am an example of that, and so are you, Salbani. But like, we generally have to find it within ourselves. That's not always the case, though. Some of the most tomboyish trans women out there are still valid in their womanhood, though, and that's, I think, the worrying thing about their line of allyship. It's that like, you shouldn't have to try at all to appear to be a quote unquote woman, to be a woman. And I think that's what's worrying about this narrative of like, we don't have to be pretty and frilly just to justify our womanhood, and we still have the same oppressions as a woman that a cis woman does, many of the same at least. So jumping straight on in, because I've got a couple of other things I want to say before we hit the AOC stuff. Did you see the Tim Paul situation on Jubilee? How the hell is this guy a moderate in modern days? Has the Overton window shifted that much? What the fuck?
I did see the clip. I saw it on Twitter. Honestly, to me, I feel like Tim Pool is at the end of that Russian money where he's grifting his grift as much as he can
The
grift.
bills are due. The bills are due.
You know, he's really, I mean, like, even just within the past like 9-10 months, you know, he's been crashing up very uniquely. I just today just saw a clip that was from 10 months ago. I don't know why I was pushing it. I guess because Tim Pool's in the algorithm right now. So I got, but I saw a clip of him crashing out that Candace Owens is burning the right wing media space up from 10 months ago. So it was just kind of funny. That came up, resurfaced again to me. And it's so, to me, it's showing that this has been a downhill, especially since the Charlie Kirk situation when Candace burnt up every bridge within the space and called everyone liars and grifters and what.
Yeah.
And he's just been just sitting with that since then. And I have been hearing the money's been drying up, hence why he got his ass out of his house, the Jubilee.
Yeah. When you get used to $100,000 per episode from Russia, suddenly the YouTube ad revenue is not that much, is it? Is it, Tim?
No, yeah. So No, it was very interesting to kind of see him be challenged on his stuff, and I'm not really surprised because he's always been a fragile person. Even with the people who
Yeah.
were brought on his podcast were leftists. Even when, so
Sam Cedar
him
went on
pushed back.
bit on
Yeah,
that.
when he got pushed back and like real
Yeah.
pushback, and he couldn't dominate it,
Yeah.
because he was an equal footing. He was
100%.
he couldn't because it wasn't his podcast, because it was his show. He had to walk his ass off because he's used to cutting people's mics and having that power. And you see when you disarm the fucking bald bully, what can they fucking do? So like he's just gonna be.
Yeah, I noticed as well when he was talking, his technique, as it were, was either completely talk over them, completely wave over them, and when they start to make a coherent point, he just completely talks over. He says things like, "Do you want a soapbox? Do you want a soapbox? Are you just going to keep shouting at me, or do you want to have an argument?" Like, and not allowing them to speak, and then completely, like, when he has no argument, they're talking at him. He just is like, you can't stop talking about me. Stop talking about me. Talk about the argument at hand. He had no ability to actually debate. Like, it was like a childhood bully. Like, and it was like, how has he come this far? Like, this is crazy. Like, after the Sam Cedar and Emma Vision going on his show, he would have surely realized, like, okay, maybe debating isn't for me. Maybe I need my assets ready, my podcast pulled, and I need to just be sat in my little chair with my guns behind me to feel like a real man. Maybe he should have realized, like, Jubilee is going to be cutthroat. We got these young Gen Zs that got nothing else to do with their day other than fact check your ass before you even sit down in that chair. You got no chance, Tim. So yeah, but like the general dystopian frame of Jubilee, I just can't get over how horrific it is, and we have to see it for the content, but like it's so, to me, it's so like, what the hell is he doing calling himself a moderate? Like, is he not far right? Like, if like,
yeah, I think the problem is like it's kind of like the Dave Rubin effect, as I call it. Is like when Dave Rubin called himself I'm a true classical liberal. Tim Pool at the same time adopted that same rhetoric.
True.
At the same time. They both had their transition at the same time. And I think Tim Pool, if you want to ask if someone's a PSYOP, I think he is the PSYOP, but I think he's a walking PSYOP.
He must
and I think that's why he has the reaction he said, because all he knows is how to grift for the money. All he knows is how to, like, I mean, that was the reason why I fell down out of the pipeline, because I remember in particular, right when I was like, oh, you keep accusing us of not listening to both sides of the media, so I started subscribing to both. That time I started subscribing to more leftist creators, and they were covering some of the same stories. And I remember Tim Pool gave the most right-wing misinformation, non-centrist stance about something, and then I went to go. I remember just cutting off, like, this just sounds like bullshit. Like, okay, let me go and saw some. I think it was the Humanist Report covered it, and I was like, of course, okay, this makes more sense. Like, okay, of course, this is the reason why I clicked up, and that's when I'm like, I can't do none of this shit anymore, and unsubscribe from all of them, and it was Tim Pool shitty coverage. Him and Ben Shapiro's shitty coverage is what made me be like, okay, alrighty, and this was all about, I think this was about college admissions. They rescinded someone's admissions because they said the N-word multiple times and being racist and that. And he was all mad, like, oh, this is cancel culture and all this stuff. And then leftists were like, I thought you thought this is a private university. What happened with private institutions being able to do what the fuck they want?
They always have that when they want to.
Exactly. So that's what kind of like, I remember hearing that argument, like, wait, this doesn't even make sense. This goes against your whole ideology. So to me, like, when he says he's a centrist, he means my position shifts as far as much as I want to move it. That's what I think he means as a centrist.
Per topic. I can change my story depending on how I feel. Well, I think like Midi Doctors just said in the chat, Rogan is trying to back off Trump as well. I think Trump is at the moment where the Overton window is. Trump is defined as the right, okay? So anyone further right than Trump are considered far right, and anyone slightly left of Trump are considered central or center right and stuff. When, like, he is a Nazi. Trump is a fascist doing Nazi dog whistles all day long, and in his only coherent hours of the day. Like, he is not the definition of, like, well, you know, maybe Trump's gone too far. that person says that is they're slightly centre right instead of right. No. Like fundamentally, the entire right wing has taken so much of the pie that the Overton window has shifted fundamentally, that anyone, in my opinion, on the centre or anywhere near even centre left that like isn't acknowledging systematic oppression and racism, like we saw with Jordan Arday, anyone that isn't fundamentally aware that climate change is happening and destroying our planet, that capitalism has gone too far, are on the right. They're not centre, and that's what's the problem. All of our media is centre. Then is claiming they're centre but are right wing. Most grifters are saying they're centre but they're right wing. Like the left is tiny. We got Hassan Piker at the bloody vanguard, and even he can't do anything right. And the vast majority of policies, people, influencers, media, programs, and everything are the right. It's just a disproportionate situation. It's crazy. I just remembered my other topic I wanted to talk about before we move on to AOC real quick. Did you see Luigi Mangione has pled guilty? And so legally, I will tread carefully. I will just quickly sum up. So I saw some coverage. I was watching Carl Kalinske. All right, I know he's problematic on the left. But we have to get our news summary,
I feel
folks.
like,
I follow him. I will still watch his stuff. Anyway, Dark Woke, Carl Kalinske, was talking about how it is a power play because Luigi Mangione has two sets of like crimes basically put forward, federal and state. And if he can get one thrown out or something, if he can get the federal allegations against him thrown out, then he only has to deal with the state ones and they are lower or something. So if he does plead guilty like he's done, and if it gets through from the judge and stuff, he may be able to get the kind of the worser charges against him thrown away and really loosen his sentence. So really interesting to watch. But yeah, what do you feel about that? Is it kind of sad that we can't keep saying alleged, like he didn't do it? I suppose he's not quite yet been sentenced.
I guess like I didn't really develop a stance until I kind of, at this point, because it was such a wild card, I don't really know his intentions. So until we were aware of the strategy, which obviously is not going to share their strategy until after court results. Yeah, so I don't really know what their goal is. I think it does suck that we're not really able. But I still think they want to make an example out of him. I think they're going to try to find their way to make an example out of him. And I hope what he's doing works out, because I can see it going left where they're like, yeah, you're guilty, we're going to give you the full sentence off your chain. Because, yeah.
But officially he's pleaded guilty. So that's another chapter in the narrative. So let's talk about AOC. And the woke one was crazy. We were going to cover it last week, but we couldn't quite get our schedules aligned, could we? You go ahead and take the floor, because I know you've got lots to talk about. I will chime in.
Yeah. I mean, like I would break even the woke one discourse into 3 segments of
go for it.
What AOC said. Not even just like before you even get onto that, because AOC, people were talking about woke one like for at least a week and a half before AOC got on that clip. There was a big tizzy about it because AOC's statement is what exposed what's wrong with the woke one discourse. It fully exposed, which is the problem is you have people conflating virtue signaling and performative acts that was happening during the mid 2010s to 2020, early 2020 era, as that being woke one, as that solely being all of woke, when no. Like woke one was Me Too. Woke one is the Black Lives Matter movement. Woke one is defund the police. What we're noticing is the same people who supported Graham Plattner, the same people who supported Graham Plattner, all are having the worst woke one takes. And AOC didn't support Graham Plattner, as far as I know. She did
No, I
not
don't
endorse
think so.
him. But what I will say is she's part of that DSA clique, because that's the problem. Is like the DSA crowd are also it's the Graham Plattner supporters, which were also a lot of majority all DSA supporters. DSA. You got a lot of the Bernie Bros. You got all the worst aspects of the left showing their ass once again with this. And so we start off with like the AOC thing. Is she went and produced an entire movement that got her elected, that she was part of, that existed before her. The energy of Black activists and whatnot who were fighting for the Black Lives Matter movement, where defund the police is and always has been an important thing. So much so now we have all these fucking flop cameras in America and everywhere that they're like, again, the defund the police is a fundamental leftist ideal. But the problem is, like, you're seeing people like AOC and even Mondani back down on it because they're being absorbed by the liberal establishment, because they believe, because essentially what it's exposing is the reason why they got rid of defund, or that they're abandoning defund the police, is because it's unpopular. At the end of the day, how popular something is or not does not determine if a policy is sound or valid.
It's your job to make it popular. That's what.
Yeah, it is your job to educate people on why it's important.
Yeah,
and that's the problem, is that a lot of American leftism has been reduced by a lot of the DSC party that is solely focusing on populism, which is reactionary. I don't have time for you to care about Black and trans and other people's issues once it's popular. By the time a bitch is dead or all these people have lost their lives and impacted and whatnot, that is not when you wait. You do not wait for it to be popular to desegregate America. Desegregation was highly unpopular.
Exactly. It was.
But they encourage, that's the whole thing with the civil rights movement. It's like all these things that are right and that you should have. It's what we were pushing to get the populace to understand why you still need to vote for, even if you think it's unpopular, why it's important. That's the whole whole movement, the civil rights movement. It's us trying to get the normal people to give a fuck about our fucking lives, to enough to at least push legislation.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you're seeing fundamental leftist ideals being, I mean, again, they're calling it's so crazy. If woke one was so crazy, they'd be no Graham Plattner getting as far as he did. If it was so damn crazy, but it wasn't crazy enough, apparently.
Well, that was what struck me. Is like, what was crazy about it? Tell me, what exactly did you not agree with? Like, give me examples, AOC, like, because this is going to become important. But sorry to interrupt. Please carry on.
No, yeah, it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier. It's like when we were talking about the media, you're letting the right wing people control the narrative. You're ceding ground to them. You're letting them be the ones. And so, like, why are we engaging in this?
Yeah.
So, like,
fully.
Yeah, like, why are we in a position where AOC is giving ammunition to the right? Because this all goes back to them trying to make fun of her Francesca Hong, who lost her race because she said, why are we supporting Thanksgiving, which is a fucking factual? Why the fuck are we doing that? And so to me, it's just like, why are we ceding ground to people with 6th grade reading levels? Why are we looking for what's popular amongst people with 6th grade reading levels? At the end of the fucking day, AOC, get your ass up, bitch. And it's your job to go sit here and educate the populace why defund the fucking police is right. And if you thinking you're being electability is going, you sacrificing leftist ideals is going to get you more electable for the crowd that's going to want to vote for the liberal candidate anyways.
100%.
That's a waste of energy. You need to double down on your leftism. And you doing that is giving people justification to go attack leftists. And not only just that, but it's also like pushing DSA candidates to go like, yeah, let's go back to this let's push further on the populism. Let's go back to class reductionism, which they already been showing, and etc. And it's just like, no, we need to like really hammer down on what leftist ideals are, that you're not at, like, you can't not just sabotage. You can't not just throw the baby water out of the bathwater. You can't sit and reduce an entire movement, an actual legitimate cause, and people with grievances as, oh, it's just so crazy. Like, You can't use Black political power to get to where you're at and these ideas, and then sit here and get absorbed by
and then drop it at the last minute.
establishment.
Yeah, get where you are
Yeah.
because of all of these
And
policies.
we're seeing
then
it with
last minute
Mondani.
pullback.
We're seeing
Yeah.
with his response to defund the police, and now it's having people within the left
Yeah.
alarmed. Like, wait. So you want us to do all this work? You say how you're all this and that, and then once you in, you're gonna the first thing you're gonna slash is your leftist ideals. No, we don't want that. So I think that this is exposing that and how we need to really hammer down on like, nope, like you're gonna have to like you cannot slash these ideals as a leftist, or you're not a leftist. Like inherently leftism is part of, and defund the police is a compromise to abolish the police, mind you. That was the fucking compromise.
And in a situation where, like, to me, ICE and police in the US are not too far dissimilar, and ICE are killing people in the streets. Like, how are people not making those connections? Sorry to interject. I just wanted to also say in the chat, someone said Kamala Harris lost on doubling down. It's like, can they not learn from that? Like, you know, when she was asked about what will you do about trans women, I'll follow the law. And it's like, no, stick up for some human beings, please. Like, yeah, no, I completely agree. And what gets me, again, it comes back to media, like you said. It comes back to how the media control most of these narratives, and they will absolutely disallow people from explaining what is actually meant by these terms. Like we see it with Hassan Piker and his one statement about America deserved 9/11. Everyone that has given that an ounce of thought knows it's talking about blowback and about how if you inject yourself into certain politics, there's a risk of it coming back. Everyone that knows about that knows about that, but the media will not platform that, and it's the same situation. What was the other example I was going to give? But did you see the recent interview about I don't know his name, some white US politician guy talking about Israel and Palestine and the genocide happening, and the kind of host just is like, that's not true, that's factually untrue, I'm afraid we're going to have to wrap up. Like, just stops him from talking. Chat, if you know who they are, let me know, I'll say their names. But yeah, you're completely right. And what I completely agree is that, like, AOC's got to where she is on progressive policies. If she starts already backtracking now before her presidency run, which we all know is coming, then, like, what is she going to run on? Like, if she's going to completely throw all of these progressive policies out the window, like Harris did, is she going to just try and lean right to try and get all of those votes that are never going to vote for her? They're never going to vote for her over. I
don't even think she's even gonna lean right. I think if anything, I think that's not necessarily leaning right, but because of Trump, the open window is leaning towards right.
Exactly.
So they're slashing leftist.
Yeah,
she's leaning closer to the center,
and
that's not gonna get her to win no election. It's gonna be a waste of fucking votes.
Exactly.
And like, you either are gonna stay a leftist progressive and be a candidate, or don't run at all and let someone else garner that progressive energy that you're going to suck up from them. You're going to just sit here and sabotage leftist movements, because that's what it is sabotaging leftist moves. You're undermining leftist moves. You're reducing it to woke ones crazy. When George Floyd's lives matter. All those Black folks are killed by cops matter. Those were valid. Those are things that are undeniable. But you can't sit here because it's not political viable for you as a candidate to go stand on that. No, I mean, and that's another thing. Like, Francesca Hong would have won her primary if those people endorsed her, but they were so afraid.
She lost by like 3,000 votes, right?
Yes, exactly. She lost by 3,000 votes.
Again, look at the media.
People,
Abdul Al-Sayed won by that margin, and they're like, well, he's going to have to move to the center. I mean, he only barely won, blah blah blah. She loses by that much, and it's like, so she could never have been elected. You know, there's this complete disparity in the it's like, like,
and Al Bill had the endorsement, she didn't. She did that all on her fucking own. And that's the one thing I want to understand, is that we got to stop holding on to these DSA not candidates, what's it called, these politicians who are DSA, and like, because they're trying to treat themselves like they're the makers of the left.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck about your reelectability, Bernie Sanders. If a candidate lost, you are not held to that. You get to move on about your day and still get your votes. So you don't lose nothing endorsing her, especially because your ass about to die anyways in office anytime. So you might as well had endorsed her. We would have had
I mean,
somebody
who
going
knows?
on.
The way these American senators go on, he's probably got another 30 years left in him. But I
But
just want to
no,
say about
yeah.
the Francesca thing, her random tweet from years ago about why we're celebrating Thanksgiving. From the rest of the world looking in at America, Thanksgiving is a celebration of a genocide against the indigenous people of the country that it invaded. Like, I can't, like, people sit around the table and they're like, yeah, but I want to eat my turkey and yams. It's like, that's crazy. To most people, that is, we look in at that and we're like, okay, Diva, you do you, but like, you are celebrating something that is innately a stain on history. Like, and so even if you disagree with Francesca's take, having the ability to understand it and communicate it and move past it is all I would ask of the media. But they don't even allow that. They all of the media just jump on it as if like what she has said is outrageous. It can never be explained. Like abolish the police. It's like, oh, so you want criminals running the streets? It's like, no, like connect with it genuinely. That's not what it's about. It's about money into other, organizations and systems that support people other than police that is innately a violent and oppressive organization. It's like no one wants to even join the conversation properly, and it's wild to see. It's wild to see because they also expect that whenever they have a conversation they want us to agree with. That how many times have we been told, do you disavow Hamas? How many times do we have to meet their conversations? I'm talking about the centre and right-wing media organisations. They constantly ask, do you disavow Hassan Piker's statements? Do you disagree with Hamas? And yet when we have a single thing of like, abolish the police, can you just understand what we mean by that? No, they can't do that because they're not going to ever give us the same footing.
I think also we have to understand, because AOC and Bernie Sanders were so afraid of endorsing her, now they have a Democrat candidate who's pro AI. So they're going to fuck up the water. It's going to pro AI data centers and whatnot. So they're being so short-sighted. They're so short-sighted. They would rather let a Democrat that's pro data centers win than go put their fucking necks in the line to fuck, because they don't want to fight that battle. They don't want to fight that uphill battle because Wisconsin's a red ass state. It was a battle that was worth fucking fighting, to the point that she lost barely by 3,000.
Yeah, she nearly won
without any fucking endorsements.
Yeah, no
without
money.
any
She didn't do
endorsements from
TV ads. Yeah.
The DSA candidate, like, it's just fucked up. It's fucked up how
it's crazy.
And this is why I'm like, no, like, I feel like this is a good exposure. Because also, let's be real, she up there, she was when she was pressed on it, she's like, I don't believe in that. I love Thanksgiving, because that's what they're pushing. Because she's a DSA candidate, they're all pushing her they're pushing everyone to the fucking center. And I'm like, done. Like, stop letting the fucking liberals control. Like, you sit here and you tell liberals they don't stick to their values. And then AOC and Bernie does this. So, like, you're guilty of the same thing you accuse liberals of them not being able when they push comes to shove. I mean, that's why that's why Trump said he won, and he's like, well, push comes to shove, they're not going to do shit anyways. And they proved that. And that's showing it's showing that you guys are no better, because, like, you're over here drop the ball and defund the police, like, completely, as they're using these fucking flock cameras, AI, and everything to surveil people more and more and more. And these every year, police budget's blooming. The New York police budget is larger. It's the largest in the entire country, and it's the size of the equivalent to a country's military. Some countries' militaries. That's the problem. Like, so no. And there was a lot of bars that Amon Donnie had said about defund the police in 2020, 2021. But now, when you're consumed by, I'm just like, you're already in the position and you're still ceding ground. So, I mean, that's the one alarmist thing about this woke one thing. It's like, it's showing us is like, people aren't as grounded in their leftist beliefs as they say they are. There's a lot of white people who supported Graham Plattner, DSA people, Bernie Bros, who are misrepresenting what woke fucking is, which mean to be understood, to be aware of the racist society we live in, which goes hand in hand with transphobia, homophobia, etc., etc., etc. They don't get that all, but at the same breath, they want to do dark. How are you going to do dark woke if you don't even support woke one?
Yeah, exactly.
That's another thing. Like, you can't be dark woke before dark woke, but you're against what actually woke is, which is to be interfucking sectional with all of us. Yeah, so
Yep.
I really went on a tangent on that, but I want you to pick up on
No,
what
you
I said, because I dropped a lot of things.
No, you said exactly the you perfectly put. I don't have any notes. No, exactly. I think that a lot of them seem to have been on the bandwagon. A lot of the it's like a one-sided bandwagon as well. It's like we can't tell them to not support Grey and Platinum when there are red flags. You know, so what is it then? What is this whole entire leftist movement if like we can't have any stopgaps for that level of danger, and also politicians like AOC and stuff can rise on that progressive kind of wave and get popular on it, and then, like you said, like turn around and say, actually, I didn't believe all of those things, but she is where she is because of them. I think that is very, I mean, it's politics. It's not shocking, but that doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it.
You can't expect to win like this, especially if you want
exactly,
like the youth vote.
Surely they've learned that from Harris. Like that doesn't get you elected. Like there's this like imaginary like center that's like that just doesn't. Show me where this voting like
it's America is in a psychosis of the center. That's it. The America, we're in a fucking psychosis. Because it's just always like, no, this imaginary center, these people don't even vote.
Exactly.
The center don't vote. That's the thing. If they vote,
if Tim Pool is a motherfucking moderate, then how the hell is there a center? If he's moderate, then you are appealing to the right. I'm sorry. There is no center. There is Tim Pool, and then there is everyone else on the left. Like it's crazy.
What they need to do is stop talking center this, center that. You better get your ass up and go register people, new voters. That's what you need to do. Just get new. I mean, that's what they need to do. They need to stamp. They need to really hamper down on their actual beliefs and their policies, and it's going to help people. And then get new fucking voters. I mean, to expand upon this, what I'm trying to say is like. This goes back to like this is regarding woke one, 2016 Bernie Sanders. He lost the fact that he was trying to run as progressive, but he wasn't woke, and and when I say that, I mean he was a class reductionist because of him thinking he could win in a primary election without black voters. He ran the DNC this, DNC that. Yes, they did play a role, but it wasn't the biggest impact, which is you can't skirt. Remember, this is DSA people talking points. You can't sit here and undermine the black fucking vote and sit here and say the DNC is so powerful, this and that, which they do have power, but it's not more than the fact is the math was you didn't try to get any black voters. You tried to go to white rural voters who went for Trump overwhelmingly. And you chose to stay in the white suburbs. And then you get surprised and you don't have enough votes from all marginalized, because it's not just white people that's voted for you to win the primary. You need everyone. But again, like that's something. These are the same people who was calling, who was having the worst takes about woke one, does not have a good political analysis of why Bernie lost in 2016, are going to blame the DNC and not his lack of intersectionality with both liberal and woke black people, let alone the other groups of people that he could have reached out, like the expanded community and whatnot. Also, another thing he didn't try to overwhelmingly get people registered as first-time voters or new voters. He didn't do that, like the person named Stacey Abrams in Georgia, who had over 300,000 new registered voters for when she was running for governor. And the person that she was going against was the person who oversaw elections exactly, and so she lost by a couple thousand. But the point is her strategy is she worked and this is the strategies that she's a liberal, but that's the one thing I was like, we could work with liberals and take strategies that do work, like getting new voters, knocking door to door, and making sure people are. And also she had because there were people that were registered that he was on registering the week of the election, and she had to go let people know, hey, you might have been on registered. You need to go double check if you're able to vote. That's the reason. That's probably one of the biggest reasons why she lost by a couple thousands, because there was people that were going to the polls to vote who all of a sudden found themselves on registered and they weren't letting them vote.
That's going to be a more prevalent thing going forward as well, isn't it? under
No, literally,
trying
yeah.
doing what he
So
can. Yeah.
those are like Southern strategies. But yeah, that to me, it's all connected. It's the incompetence of the Bernie Sanders movement of 2016 that created the DSA, that has the white identity politics that they have with, you know, Graham Plattner embodies. They're all Plattner for president. That is white identity politics, toxic white male identity politics is what they were pushing. So that's kind of what's like what's frustrating me is like these woke one people discourse that is like making fun of it all have the fucking wrong fucking takes on everything. It's like you expose that you should not be listened to. Outside of like the only things I'll listen to people like, for example, Kyle Clancy, is if you've given me the news. That's all I want to hear from you.
Yeah,
but
totally.
as far as that, you know, I'm right there with you. I am listening to him for the news still too. But outside of the motherfucking news, I don't want your political input on
I don't
some.
need your
I'm not
takes on
saying you
it.
can't have some things. He's still good on some things. But on certain things, I don't want to hear what you talk about. I want you to give me the motherfucking news.
Yeah. Like I always say, relative to everything else, he's a left-wing news, independent source media. Like I will support that. He has a lot of bad takes as well. I will call them out too and ask him to do better. Same old thing. But like obviously he's better than Tim Pool, a moderate apparently.
Yeah, better than CNN. I'd rather watch Kyle Clancy than CNN. And all that's what I mean. Like this is what I mean. And also like their news delivery is good. It's just the fact that like they're a Bernie bro. Everyone that had the bad take with Grant Kleiner were all Bernie bros. Like that is the connection. Like that's why they moved
like
the way they do.
They're focused on class and certain elements of leftist progressivism, but not
populism.
All
they're
them. Populism.
All about populism.
Yeah. And if you haven't learned that they're all interconnected, then you're not with the cool kids. Anyway, let's call it there before I lose my sanity. This has been so fun, just us two waffling on. I feel like we are the two pop girlies that will just like chat shit, and we need the grounding Finn and Bridget, at least one of them.
House of Dragons, then. Let's end up on House of Dragons. Because didn't that just end the season 3, which is annoying me because I came this Sunday thinking there's another episode. And I'm like, wait, why is there no new episode? Why would you leave me on this?
Okay, I'm going to keep it spoiler free, but to give my House of the Dragon... Okay, I went into House of the Dragon Series 3 without knowing really what happens in the books. And I had, like... Because you really know you get so spoiled so easily these days. Even HBO itself, an hour after the episode is like, boom, spoilers. So But I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed where the narrative's going. But you know what I really love? Gather around, kids. Gather around. I really love the fact that there is only going to be one series in the next installment in 2 years. They aren't going to drag it out. They're not going to like keep going for like stupid amounts of time because it feels like the story has been pulled a little bit too much. And it's like, okay, Diva, we didn't need 3 episodes building up the war that wasn't even that big. Like, yeah. And like, I feel like, okay, 4 seasons, great. Please don't come out with a 5th and like drag the last bit out. Like, it needs to be action packed. It needs to not be scared to do what it needs to do. And if you know what happens, like it needs to just be like, okay, boom, main character, boom, boom, this happens, boom. And I feel like this season was fantastic, but considering the fact that it had 2 episodes from season 2 at the beginning and not really much happened. Especially in the middle, it really sunk. It picked it up at the end because it kind of had to, but it was a bit like certain characters, like certain characters have been like, there's like crazy wars happening, crazy stuff happening, and there's this one character in a certain place that's just like sword practicing against a mirror, and it's like, okay, Diva, that you're stalling, like like he could have just done other stuff. So anyway. But
no,
really
I feel
fantastic.
that. I do agree. There was a couple parts, so they was dragging. They know they already knew.
Dragging their
I will say the one thing, and I have to find a way to say without spoilers, but there's a character in that last fight scene that just the way he sabotaged everything. He sabotaged.
But so like that's I didn't know it, but that's in the books. I found that out retrospectively.
Oh, that's in the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I know who you mean, but like I kind of felt that. I kind of as a natural.
All I can say is this is if you don't see it, this is not a spoiler. You don't know.
Yeah.
All over a motherfucking drink. To be able to have a drink. All there for a damn drink.
I mean, try and get me away from my glass of Chardonnay. You'll see what happens. But no. So But so I think like what I liked about that is like in true Game of Thrones like lore, like you aren't meant to expect it. It doesn't go as the whole narrative is building up to the Red Wedding vibe. It's like, oh, I had not seen that coming. I actually liked that because it gave that. It was kind of like, hey, he's his own person. I mean, spoilers, sorry. He's his own person. He's got his own thing going on. Maybe he would do that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I liked it. It was like believably a twist, and that's what Game of Thrones already did really well, and I'm glad House of Dragon did that. But yeah, I mean, fuck him, of course, but yeah, good stuff. I'm so glad we got to talk about that. So right, let's wrap it up there. You've said your video is coming hopefully this week. Is that
Yeah.
so exciting?
I'm aiming for this Saturday. I have to upload by this Saturday because of I probably won't be in California after next week, so I have to, because everything I have lined up that I want to do, when it's released, I have to do out here, so I have to finish it up. So amazing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. I haven't been putting out video in a while, as many of you know, but I have one in the pipeline finally, and I've made it a bit of a bigger one than normal. I'm really, really proud of it, actually. It's more of a video essay style. It's giving early breadtube compared to like covering the drama. There's been so many great drama things that I wanted to talk about as well, like the Jules LeBron recently was in the thing as well. But that's what this pod's for, and I'm so glad I got to chat with my girlie about most of the things. So, but yeah, check out my channel. It should be out soon. I'm going to release it earlier. I'm going to release an extended cut on Patreon as well. So if you want to see it early, please do feel free to support there. And as a thank you to the patrons that have been so loyal, I'll post it on there in full soon, hopefully. Maybe by the end of today, but that's optimist. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking around for our this week's episode of the Left Wave Transmission. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took something from it. Hopefully, Bridget, we saw you in the chat earlier, darling. I hope you're feeling better. Maybe she'll be back for next week. And I think Finn, it might be, yeah, he's moving. So when he's got his setup back ready, he'll be joining us again. But yeah. That's all from me. I love you all so much. Take care of yourselves. Any other final words, my darling?
I say stay strong. And I would say just like clichely, like, there's a lot in the fucking world right now in the news and everything, and everyone wants, and it's showing they like, I mean, they're trying to, beat us down to, oh, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to like step away for a moment and do things that brings joy in your life. I think that's one thing we have to, as strong as we're forced to fucking be, to be alive, to still do the little things that you enjoy. I mean, we just lost our pop girly that voiced Kyrie for Kingdom Hearts. If you're American, she's in a lot of movies. Yeah. She's in Bring It On. She was my cheer girl. That was my girl. I watched her since I was a little kid. So, what happens to her losing her life at 36, and her birthday is this Friday, it kind of made me realize, like, we're alive and we need to still enjoy the joys of life while we have that chance. So whether that's you playing Kingdom Hearts, that's whether you playing it's a video game in general, whether that's you going out, whether it's, I shouldn't, I maybe it's like, let me get that $8 drink and then go enjoy it. And, in moderation, of course, but, to spoil yourself, it's okay to like, especially if you can make it up later. It's okay in that moment to enjoy that.
It is okay to look after yourself, and there should be no shame in doing so. Put yourself first, because you deserve it. I completely agree. Oh, what a lovely little cringy ending to what a cliche little cringy end, but I'm here for it. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next one.